are you doing? I'm not filming you. No. So, what is up, guys? It's been quite a while since I posted a video. And Dom's hiding himself in Sean's Cobalt. So, little update. I have a change of scenery. This is my buddy's Cobalt. Recently locked up the motor, so that's at the machine shop. And then we got the Prelude. It's on jack stands. But one thing I did today is I got rid of, or I'm in the process of getting rid of this. This was the old subframe that I cut up to try use. Decided I'm gonna go a different way. So now I have some metal here, 8-footer. I'm gonna be cutting it up, making new frame rails. And if you guys caught a quick glimpse of it, I have over here a 240 SX subframe that I'm gonna be putting inside of it. Real quick, I apologize for pretty much dropping off of the face of the earth. I was a little busy trying to get parts and just save up and buy them. If you know me personally, I am not the best with saving. But one thing I do have is a lot of parts that are laying around. I got lower control arm and whole spindle. The other half of that subframe, the middle piece, is already cut out and gone. Front coilovers are out. And there's Sean. It is a new day, guys. And let me show you guys what I'm currently working on. So as you can see, it looks like a complete mess right now. But right now what I'm doing is using parts from the old subframe. I'm just trying to level around, see where the subframe sits best. Doing some quick measurements off of the bottom of this subframe. I have the same exact subframe on the motor already. So from this lip right here, the top of it, up to what about appears to be the top of the motor is about 25 inches where I had the motor just a moment ago. It was fine. And then I have a line down there. You can see it, it's a white line. That is where the top of my subframe, well, frame rail should be. And so right now, I'm just marking out, seeing what fits best. I have some 2x4 rectangular metal that I'm gonna be cutting and putting there for new frame rails as a pickup point for the S13 subframe. This one right here, as you can see, it's going past, but it is very long. And so the theory with this one is I'm going to ditch this part. This piece is gonna go run all the way from back there, tie into the firewall, partially get cut for there, so it'll only be sticking out an inch. So that way there, in theory, from this side to this side, it will be 26.5 inches. So that means it's right now at like 28.5. So I'm just gonna have an inch of overlap on the side. That will just give me plenty of room to work with for the subframe, getting mounted and unmounted. But just gonna simply run it all the way back, tie it into the firewall. So I went very long, it's like 54 inches. And I'm going to basically just cut it to this shape up here. And then also cut it to the shape of up here, weld it to the actual front. And then once everything's all done, this will be ditched, and then a new beam will be ran across for the tension brackets. All right, my guys and girls, it is another day, the end of the day actually. I've been working and I kind of forgot to pick up any progress of it. So the last clip, I should say, you guys probably saw, was one frame rail was tacked in and I was going to be working on the next one. Well, big update. I have both tacked in. I already drilled them, measured a ton, and then I bolted up the subframe just for mock-up purposes. Afterwards, I'm gonna drop the subframe, drill the holes out a little bit bigger and sleeve them. So that way there, it keeps the frame nice and stiff. I still gotta finish welding in the frame rails themselves. They're just tacked in. And if you look really closely in the corners, you can see just for some picture-wise, I threw on some wheels. I'm going to definitely have to extend that lower control arm a good amount, but not as much as like Jimmy Oaks and stuff. Only probably like an inch or two, so not too bad. I went through, and if you remember, or if you saw, I originally had 2 of the U-joints welded by an old ratchet, well, breaker bar. I was actually able to use that same very unit. Here's the old one. And I was able to just cut it and make it a little bit smaller. And for those of you who are wondering, that U-joint right there has the same spline as the Preludes, interesting enough. And yes, before I get hate, I know that this is backwards. I know it, all right? I put the subframe up, and I had it in the back, and I forgot to move it forward, and I was just too lazy because these bolts are way too long, and so I didn't feel like unbolting all of it just to flip it back around. So before you try coming at me, I know, all right? But the wheels are sitting pretty good, almost exactly in factory location. As you can see, I still have to make some strut towers for it. All I'm simply gonna do is I'll go to the other side since it's actually cleaned off. I'm just gonna basically take the rough shape, cut all this out, throw a new piece of just 1/8 inch steel, and I'll weld it all the way around. I'll already have measured out everything, transferred it over, and have new holes that would take an S13 or S14 strut tower bolt pattern. But I got the ABS system out. I took all the brake lines out, took my fuel lines out, took the clutch line out, just cleaned up in here a lot. I started going through, taking out the fuse box and wiring. And if I even come inside the car, I had the dash completely off. Better yet, I had the dash completely off, and I took out my heating unit because it runs all the way to about the driver's foot. So that had to go in order to make room for the transmission. And besides, I'm only gonna be running like just a vintage air setup when the time comes, just more for defrost purposes, so that way there, say at a track or on the road, my windows don't start fogging up on me, although I do plan on driving. Mostly with the windows down. That's just personally how I drive. But I am very excited with the progress that has happened. Those of you who are trying to follow me step by step, I apologize greatly because I did not film a lot of it, but one thing I'm really excited about is I'll show you in a moment. So I take the wheel, I turn it, and the wheels are turning. So everything works good. The steering rack is doing a-okay. I'm very excited about that. Looking forward to running the S chassis subframe. Also, side note, if you guys have not already, I know that there is plenty of guys who tell me all the time that I should have V8'd it, or honestly just are more looking for consistent content. Go check out my buddy Luke. I'll put his link in the description. He's very, very consistent. He wants to post every Friday. He's doing a V8 Honda Prelude just like mine. It's nice red. I'm telling you guys, go check him out. Really nice content.